Welcome to Charts Today. My name's David Linton, and today's edition for Thursday, the 5th of October, comes to you from Amsterdam. And I just finished off at the EMART Energy Conference here today. So we start by looking at the dollar. Dollar just holding its ground, having risen quite a bit in the last few weeks. You see here September had quite a strong month for the dollar, so still bullish above the clouds, so just holding on. The euro just struggling in the reverse. It's just struggling to get through the clouds, so dollar strength, euro weakness still the story. Japanese yen, the dollar is holding its ground here as well, and this is probably the most significant change because the dollar is making a long-term transition through the cloud. So the dollar is strengthening at the moment, and we see against sterling, sterling falling away here, just testing this 132 level. So again, dollar strength being the factor there, and against the euro, just making new sort of weekly lows. So again, just having struggled really to get above the cloud. So sterling selling off, and we see here against the Swiss franc, we're still bearish below the cloud in the short term. Against the Aussie, bearish below the cloud as well. And so it's just a bit of a struggle for sterling all around. Looking at the S&P 500 index, holding that 2530s area, so looking strong still. Good upside targets here now. This next one to play for, which is 2564, and we've got these medium-term upside targets as well, 6%, as much as 23%, and then the 9.5% on the long-term chart. Nasdaq still just struggling to make new highs, just holding at these levels, but looking like it will now. So it's stronger again, back above the cloud. So it looks like tech will catch up. Dow looking strong still, and the Russell 2000 just holding those stellar moves that we've seen over the last few weeks. The future is down very slightly, the S&P 500 future, and the Nasdaq E-mini virtually unchanged. So no real heads up as to what the market's going to do at the open. FTSE 100 just holding the short-term bullishness, and we see here medium-term we have just moved back above the cloud as well. FTSE 250, much clearer pattern here, gunning for a new high. The DAX looking strong, and actually just closing here at a new high, so that's looking good. Bullish all round really for the German DAX. We have this upside target which we haven't yet activated, but 53% upside if we can just close that 1% higher. Of course, there's only one target, and there's a shortage of other targets there, so not that as reliable as if we had multiple targets. Looking at the Nikkei, it's looking strong here. We've got good upside targets here, and the Hang Seng also looking strong, bullish above the cloud in all three time frames. The Shanghai market still just struggling on the short-term chart, and the Indian market also the same. So we're just seeing China and India just stalling a little bit. The Aussie market looking bearish again. Brent crude is still sitting bearish below the cloud in the mid-50s, around $55 level, and WTI back below the $50 level. So that's quite key. We've got downside targets 48.82, 47.62, and 48.78. US nat gas looking still just bearish below the cloud on the short-term chart, and copper just holding back to a bullish position on the cloud, so copper just looking a little bit better again. Going straight to gold, if we look at the gold chart, we see we almost made it above yesterday, but just can't quite get through. Less work for gold to do now to turn bullish, and we're close. Just really a move above the 1280 level would do it on the short-term chart. Silver, we saw again, it did actually move above the cloud yesterday. It was looking better, but just pulled back again. So just struggling precious metals to hold those moves. While we see stock markets making new highs, we're seeing the risk on investments just not moving. We see here the US Treasury yield sitting around 2.33%. Apple still just struggling to get above the cloud, but looking better. Google looking much stronger. Amazon also just coming through the cloud, so looking a little bit better now. And Facebook also just back above the cloud, but only just struggling at this 170 level. And Microsoft actually looking much better, just coming through the cloud as well. So we will see tech recovering by the looks of things. That's it for today. Until tomorrow, back in London. Happy charting. See you then.